So, hello everybody. Got lots of people in the chat, so thank you for joining us already. We are joined by Karen, Sells Clothes.
Hello.
You've been fantastic, Kelly.
Hiya.
And I think Heather's going to pop in at some point as well, so that will be good. So today we're talking about comparison. It's a massive subject, and it's one that I think most people deal with in some way or another. Oh, there's Heather. Let's invite her in.
Hi, Everin.
Hello.
It is. Hi, Ever.
We're live, so please
God.
do not swear.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, someone's feeding back. Is that you, Heather?
It's me. Sorry, hang on.
Oh, while you're getting sorted, I'll just say hello to the people in the chat. So Graham Register was first. So hi, Graham. It's a new name for me. Double Karma. M Mass, that's Michael from New York. And then Kelly, obviously. Devon Twins, hi. Vicky, Gary Reynolds. Yeah. And Heather. And Christine. Hi, Christine and Mandy. The Thrifty Aussie. Got so many Aussies in the community now. It's really cool.
That's good, yeah.
Wow.
And hi, Becca. So
Becca.
George has joined us. Ali Cat Lane. Charity Shop Sam, Sarah, Andrew's just popped in. Hi, Andrew. Chris, Janet, Shazad, Becky Louise. Hi, Becky. If I've missed anyone, I do apologise, but thank you all for joining us. So yeah, as I was saying,
you meant Becca then, because she popped in my live yesterday from Malaysia. I was quite surprised.
It's Rebecca, I think.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we're talking about comparison. So please feel free to join in the chat on the side, and let us know what your experiences are of comparison. So I'll delve right into my first question. So basically, I think that we're taught or conditioned to compare ourselves from a really young age. I think that when we're at school, we have a lot of peer pressure, and even from very small with adverts on the TV, and you feel like, my friend has got a better toy than me, or my friend's got a bigger bedroom than me. It's all that kind of thing that when you're small, you start to compare yourself, and it's just almost a natural thing. So would you agree with that? Whoever wants to start, Kelly?
I would say, yeah, I do agree with that. But I think it's a lot worse now than it was when we was kids. I think the ideals that people are trying to live up to today and the standards that they're trying to live up to is not achievable for most people. So yeah, I think it's worse today than it's ever been. So
yeah, there's just so much information, isn't there, all the time?
Yeah.
So many choices, so many. Yeah.
Well, everyone you see on TV now is practically perfect in the standard that we expect from TV. They've got perfect teeth, perfect hair, lovely and slim normally. So yeah, and real life ain't like that, is it?
No, it's like we almost edit our lives when we're sort of showing it to the world, don't we? We kind of
definitely
curate it, as they put it. We curate our own social media and almost our lives when we're explaining it to other people. We don't really, I don't know. We're almost afraid these days to actually be honest and to be vulnerable. And, what do you think, Heather?
I couldn't agree more. I think it's something that there is going to be a massive backlash against everybody thinking they've got to be the same, have a particular look. And you see it. You walk down any high street in an afternoon, you see all these people who are trying to look like the same person. And it hurts. It's like, oh, for goodness sake, we should all be interesting, messy, different, and not afraid of that and not see that as a weakness. It's something I really, really feel strongly about now, is that measuring yourself against somebody else in whatever form, whether that's physically or whatever about their life, is usually a complete fail, because what you see is not who they are. Especially these days, everything's filtered, curated, managed within an inch of its life, and I just think there's going to be a backlash against it, and hopefully there'll be people like us that actually start that.
Yeah, definitely. Do you feel the same way, Karen?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's an element of it as well, is that because the parents want the big car and they want both to have both like really brand new cars, they want to have the big house, they want to go on the 4 holidays a year. So I know what, we're going to work everything well under the sun, and what we're going to do is, because we're both working all these hours under the sun, we may go on like 2 really good holidays a year with the kids and that's it. We're going to buy their love. And there's a lot of that also goes on.
Yeah.
And also I do think a lot of the pressure comes from the children's immediate family. I mean, a good example is when I know not every county or every country has it. We have grammar streaming here in Kent. Now, when I done my 11 plus, when I was at primary school, we just went and took a test. We didn't know what it was about. Even Cole had the same. Just took a test, didn't know what it was about. Now, I tell you what, I know of a handful of children each time that don't get tutored from like year 4 onwards.
Yeah.
And who is it that's putting that pressure on them?
What's that to do with, though, Karen? Is that to do with what school they'll move on up into? Or...
Oh yeah, because
right.
I know people that like they move areas to get their kids into a decent school, and it's like they must be at the best school, they must be at this, they must be. It's like, let them be children, and let them be unique, and not every single child is going to be a brain surgeon,
Yeah, they're not all going to be good at maths or science or academic.
I read this once actually that was sent out by a head teacher at the end of before the year 6 that started, and it actually made me cry. And it basically said, embrace what you are great at. You may not do well in these tests, but you may be the most kind, compassionate person that you know. You may be a really good dancer. You may be good at this. You're good at all these other things that these 2 little tests do not measure.
Yeah. They're not a guarantee of success.
Yeah. And like you were saying, adverts, it's always, I mean, you look at it, I don't know if it's still on, but you got like the shampoo advert, because you're worth it. Because you're worth what? It's like, are you not worth it? If you do not buy that shampoo, it's like, seriously, get a grip. But there was the peer pressure still when we were children.
But you can't get away from it though nowadays, can you? Because it's on social media, Instagram, and all the kids are obviously on these platforms as well. It's on TV, reality TV, and 24-hour TV. I mean, telly used to go off at 12 o'clock, didn't it?
Yeah, to the.
I think as parents, the only thing we can do is have the responsibility. Like, if you're a parent, is have the responsibility of reminding your children how amazing and fantastic they are at whatever they do, and it does not matter. And that is all I ever try and do with both my kids, is as long as they try their hardest, they do their best, that's all I ask from them. And no, they don't have to conform to society. And Sophie very much doesn't conform to society, and I'm really happy about that. That sounds really bad, but I am. So.
Yeah, and it is really difficult, especially when the schools are almost, I don't know, they seem to ignore those that aren't sort of academic, and they really are constantly celebrating those that are achieving this and achieving that. And when your kids are achieving things that are different and they're not achieving sporting things or maths or science, or they're achieving other things, they're overlooked, I feel.
It is a difficult thing. Yeah, there are more intelligences than the purely academic ones. And, I've had these conversations with my son. They said, you could be good at every subject under the sun, but if you can't find something that makes your heart sing when you do it as a way to earn your living, then you're not going to be happy. That's the most important thing. I said, it doesn't matter whether because he's going to get a lot of pressure to follow certain paths, because they look at them at school and go, right, you can do this, you should be doing that. So there's no should about it. You do what makes you happy, not necessarily what you're good at or what other people think you should.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, Melon's been through this whole feeling she should go to university, the school system pushing them to look at universities to go, and she's made that really difficult decision, but a really good decision for her, which is not to go to university, full stop, because it's not the environment for her, and she wants to follow a completely different path. But you know, the reactions to that from school and the reactions from other people when you tell them are quite negative, really, because it's not the expected.
Yeah.
And university is different from what it was, say, back way when only a very few people were going. The problem now is that everybody's going, and that's brought down the value of the qualification. And it's no guarantee of anything, having a degree anymore. It became difficult. Even when I got mine, it was still a piece of paper. But yeah, these days, why would you do it? Why would you want 50 grand's worth of debt?
Yeah.
You know, unless you were very sure you were going to use it for something particular. It's really hard.
Yeah. And there are other ways and other paths in life to follow and to learn as well. It's not like you're just going to stop learning. You know, there are other ways to follow your passions. Just dipping in the chat. Andrew says, my school was only interested in sporting excellence. No good for me. Same here. George is saying, our eldest daughter Layla has literally just started 11 plus, learning lessons before school on a Thursday, but she is the one who's decided to take it and try to get into the girls' school near us. She has absolutely no pressure at all from me and Amy, unlike other parents. As long as they're happy and healthy, that's what matters.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with getting tutors for your kids if they're struggling in certain subjects at all. I don't think there's anything wrong with that if you can afford to do that, because obviously extra lessons do cost, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, I'm only saying it from a point of view. I know a teacher at the boys' grammar school up the road from me, and she said in the last 6 years she has noticed a decline in the pupil that is going there because they have been tutored for a test, and a lot of them are not grammar school material, because you've got to think, for a grammar school you've got to be top 10% in the country. That's what they're looking for, the top 10%. So, and to be honest, I mean, I've said this before, you know, the secondary school that Sophie went to, because she didn't get selected, as they say, she didn't get selected, but she didn't get tutored, she didn't do her book, she didn't want to know any of it. But the secondary school she's going to is a really good secondary school. So, and I do think part of it is, I mean, the primary school Scott's still at, and Sophie was at until last year, is in special measures. Apparently it's absolutely awful primary school, but they've both done really well there. I think if a kid wants to learn, they'll learn wherever they will go, because teachers want to teach them.
Yeah, they can do well in spite of it, I think. And my son was certainly the same with the school he went to. But I do hear what you say about that, about the way the tutoring has meant that certain people are getting through that are going to find it a struggle when the reality hits, because they're expected to be at a certain level. And I know my son finds that where he is. He's at a grammar school, and he knows there's a lot of people who seem to be having a struggle now. They're in, and they're a year into they're in year 8 now, and he's happy, but he recognises that an awful lot of people are having problems now because the pace of it is too much for them. So
and the pressure that ends up on the kids being in that situation must be absolutely awful.
But I remember when I dropped Sophie off, and I made a point of I never told anyone. The only people that know her scores were me and my husband. They're the only ones, because no one else. It's irrelevant. It really is irrelevant what she got. But the amount of them going in there going, I got this. What did you get? What did you get? What did you get? It's like, you either got above it or you didn't. There's no need to be saying what everyone got, you know.
That's the comparison. We are naturally quite competitive as human animals, and this is what we tend to do. Is we want to know we're not right at the bottom. We know we're probably not right at the top, but we just kind of want to know we're all right. But comparison can be so negative that actually it doesn't boost confidence. It usually erodes.
Yeah, that leads me on actually to a question down here. So I'll skip a few questions, might go back to them. But basically, yes, I think we're always silently competing, mostly in a healthy way, but we're silently competing with other people constantly, because it's just human nature. It's what we do. Do you find yourselves particularly seeking other people out online to see what they're up to and what they're doing? Do you check on other eBay accounts, like social media accounts, business accounts? And if so, why do you think you do that?
I do it because I'm nosy. I'm just nosy. Want to see what other people are doing, what other people are selling, what's selling, what isn't selling, that sort of thing. That's the only reason I do. I don't compare myself to other resellers. I don't really find that I compare myself much at all to anybody. I'm not competitive. I never have been. So I'm just, sounds a bit hippy dippy, but I'm just me.
Mm.
And I know what I am. So I'm not a Mandy who Mandy, she's always flipping, although Eva keeps calling me Mandy.
Sorry, it's not the title, that's what it is.
Or a Karen who can list 20 in a day. I know that's not me. So I don't feel bad about myself because I can't do what Karen does, because I know that's not how I work.
Mm.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. I think for me, it depends where my headspace is. So if I'm feeling in a healthy headspace, I'm absolutely fine. And I just look at other people's accounts. I don't look at eBay accounts, by the way, but I look at other social media accounts, and I look at how other people's businesses are doing. And for the 99.9% of the time, I'm really, feeling championing other people and feeling really pleased for other people all the time and feeling just inspired by what I'm seeing. But then there are those days where I feel a bit down about myself and I'm in not a very healthy mind. And yeah, it can get to you. You can start thinking, oh, I'm just, I'm never going to be as good as that, or I'm never going to achieve that, or I wish I could be like that, Do any of you feel like that ever?
No, not really. I was starting to think maybe I'm really shallow, but I don't compare myself to anyone. I'm not in competition with anyone. I'm in competition with myself. That's what I'm in competition with. I'm happy for everyone, if they're making good sales. And that's not saying, like Kelly, that I don't follow anyone. I follow people's shops, for goodness sake. I follow their shops. I follow them on Instagram. I did notice I used to be a bit like that when I was on a lot of Facebook groups, because I think you see such a small portion of the story. And I hadn't been selling for as long then. And I think once you get going for a little bit, you can read between the lines. So.
Yeah. Have you ever found yourself feeling a bit negative about it, Heather?
Not really. I get more cross with myself than anybody else, because I love seeing how other people are doing. And I must admit, I don't really do Instagram, as everybody probably knows. I miss a lot of stories that way, but it's a time thing. I'm either really busy because I'm supposed to be doing some work because I'm doing okay, or I'm really busy because it's not going brilliantly, so I want to list and get cracking on it. So I don't tend to look at other people's shops or what they're doing. Obviously, my friends on YouTube, which are now becoming legion, which is lovely. We all have, for every person that's having a crap day, someone else is having a fantastic day. And it really is swings and roundabouts. So if I'm having a rubbish day, I kind of think, well, all right, so-and-so Lex has had a fantastic day. Great. I'll have a fantastic day next time. Because I know inevitably it comes around in the wash. I've been doing it long enough. I think I'm in my 5th year now. To kind of, if the rest are all right, but there's this, it's like, it's just an old day. And it's not me personally that I've done something wrong all of a sudden. I don't panic. I just think hold tight, keep going, keep listing and hang in there. So in the earlier days, yes, I did look at other people and think, wow, they've got over 1,000 listings. I'm never going to get that far. And it took me a good couple of years to get up to the kind of level of shop I've got now, where I've got 1,500 odd listings, and now I'm maintaining that. And sometimes I wish it was a smaller shop, but what I'm doing seems to work most of the time, so I'm pretty confident in that.
Also, I think we're all resellers, but we're all different. We all sell different stuff. Okay, yeah, right. So we all sell, I mean, I know you sell other stuff as well, but we all sell clothing. But we all sell different clothing. It would be like Primark comparing their stuff to Hobbs.
Yeah.
You know,
that's true. I mean, even when you compare yourself month on month, you're selling different things throughout the months, aren't you? Because you're never having the same stock. So that's not even a true reflection to compare yourself against, but we all do that. So
yeah, George has just said that healthy competition is a good thing, but it's a fine line.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, when I find myself looking at other people and feeling a bit rubbish about myself, it's not ever that I'm necessarily jealous of what they're doing or feel as if I'm in competition, because I'm not a competitive person either, you know. Nick will attest to that. He's the competitive one in this family. But yeah, I think it's just that sometimes I find myself falling into that trap of looking at how other people are doing, and it's probably that curated version of it, and thinking, oh, you know, I'm so rubbish.
I mean, you could see someone's turnover. You know, someone could say, that's it, you know, I've done like £5,000 in a day, but what you don't know is they've spent £4,500 on that stock to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and once you take the fees and postage, etc., they're actually running at a loss. You don't know.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Andrea. It depends where you are in your own headspace when you see these things, doesn't it? Because that can make a massive difference on how you outlook on anything. So it does make a big difference, that.
Yeah.
But also, we've all got a different amount of time we can give to it. You know, a different amount of time we give to it. You know, we've all got different commitments. You can't. It'd be like someone comparing themselves that's got a Saturday job to someone that's got a full-time job. You can't compare it. You know.
Yeah, and everybody has their own strengths as well.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. I just want to say hi to Tatna Teapot, who has joined us. Said, I've only been reselling for a little while, but enjoy the networking with other resellers on Instagram. I'm happy with any sales. #wedding fund. Yeah, definitely. And I think that is the positive side of social media, and, you know, the online community. It's being inspired by other people. It's the networking. It's the making friends. But at what point do you think that comparison can become unhealthy?
I think when you're using it to beat yourself up. They're doing great and I'm doing bad, therefore there must be something wrong with me and what I'm doing. Those kind of, as soon as you start to say that to yourself, think, hang on, step away. Go and do something else, go and relax, go for a walk, clear your head, and not get caught up in it. Because as Andrea was saying, it's that thing of, if you start going down that kind of rabbit hole of, oh well, if this then this then this, or if I do this maybe it'll be all right again, that way lies, you know, it lies bad feeling. And if you're feeling rubbish, I mean, I know I'm a bit hippy dippy about this sort of thing, but if your energy is really, really crap and you're turning it all in on yourself, then it's not going into your business, and it's not going to kind of move it forward.
Yeah.
I think we're quite lucky because most people in the reselling community are quite open with their ups and their downs. I mean, we've all shared our ups and downs, all of us here, and I know a lot of the resellers on YouTube have. So, I mean, we do like to show the highlights, but we do show the lows as well. So,
yeah. I think the problem is that if you get into a spiral with comparison, the way I'd look at it is that energy you're using to beat yourself up, you could use that energy to actually get on with some work. Because the only time you're going to be like that isn't when your sales are good, is it? Let's be honest. It's going to be when your sales are rubbish and you're feeling rubbish because your sales are rubbish and you want to burn everything, because that's going to really solve everything, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
I try and avoid it. I try and, if I'm having a really rubbish day, I would just avoid Instagram. As I say, I don't really do Facebook now anyway, but I'll try and avoid Instagram.
Yeah,
I tend to go to ground as well. You know, just take a couple of days of not doing too much of anything except what I have to do, which is post, list, source.
Yeah.
Good plan. So that leads me on to the next question of how can we combat comparisons, making comparisons. It's not an easy thing to do. Do you have any tips or strategies to avoid negatively comparing yourself? And that's not just in business, that's, you know, on the whole, really.
I think embrace the fact that you're unique. Every single one of us is different. And there is nothing wrong with that. We're all meant to be different. If we were all the same, it would be a boring, blinking world, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Just embrace your differenceness. Wouldn't want another one of me around here, would you? Let's be honest.
We'd love lots of you, Karen.
I think what changed for me is, and it's going to get quite a little bit deep here, so I'm sorry, is I struggled with my mental health for such a long time and was down on myself. That now I've come out of that. Anything I do is a bonus. Absolutely anything I do. So I praise everything I do, even if it's just making dinner that day. That is a bonus for me compared to how I was. So if you want to talk about comparison, I can look back on that negative time in my life and think that everything I'm doing now is hippy dippy and great, even if it's just cooking dinner. So, and I try and keep them. It's what would I say? It's just having a gratitude attitude that you are here to do things and you're able to do things, no matter how big or small they might be, because sometimes you can't do anything. You're just paralyzed by fear or depression or whatever it may be. So, I mean, and I've been there. So, like I say, for me, everything's good at the minute.
And unless you're a Buddhist, isn't it, that believes in reincarnation, you only get one life on this earth. Regardless of what you believe, you won't, you know, obviously, unless you're a Buddhist, because that's completely different, but you only get one life on this earth. And you need to make the most of it. And if you spend your time looking back and looking at other people, you're not looking at what's in front of you.
Yeah.
Yep. I second all of that.
Yeah. And yeah, following on from what Kelly was saying, you know, I've definitely struggled with depression in the past, and I think that's what I'm trying to say, is that every now and then it creeps back in a little bit. It doesn't last long, but it just creeps back in a little bit, and those are those moments where I'm just really down on myself about things, and the comparison thing turns from inspiration or just, you know, championing other people, it turns into something negative for me. And I'm being honest about that, because I think that probably a lot of people watching will relate to that as well.
Definitely.
Yeah,
and I think that's the big issue with social media, isn't it? Is because before, like, if you had depression before social media, you just have your own little inch to the world, and though it can bring you out of it, it can also make you feel more isolated. Because everyone else's life is so perfect, and me, I can barely get out of bed in the morning, and you know, and it's not like that.
Yeah. So following on from tips and strategies, I think definitely recognizing that we're all individual, and that we all have our own strengths, our own weaknesses. We're not exactly the same. There's no one size fits all. And just focusing on your own strengths and not focusing on the weaknesses. Like, my weakness is how quick I can list, you know, in business terms. So I have to focus on the things that I am good at, and you know, really sort of put my energy into those things instead, and then end up achieving more rather than.
Definitely. I mean, I'm a slow lister as well, and I do sometimes wish I could list faster, but like I say, I've just been doing it that long now. I know I'm never going to get any faster. So just accept it and move on.
Yeah.
Exactly. Sometimes I'm quick, sometimes I'm slow. It just depends what I'm listing and how much.
That is the thing as well.
So long as I get some done and keep the piles down, and I feel like I'm moving forward. And I think one of the problems I had when I was trying to move stock from one place to another and stock take, which I'm pretty much at the end of now, thankfully, I did feel overwhelmed for a while. I was thinking, why am I doing this? It's such a headache. what, you know, should I just get rid of it? And then I just thought, no, hang on, this is just a period of transition. And what I did was, to cheer myself up, I went back and looked at my sort of what I'd sold before, and just thought, all those lovely things that I've sold, that I've found, that I've sold to people for good money who were happy with them, that just kind of lifted me out of it a little bit, to think that's why I'm doing it, because I do genuinely love doing it. So I have to do this in order to make my life easier in future, because if I can find stuff easier, and I can now, that's going to be a godsend. So it's kind of taking a slightly longer, a bigger picture, rather than looking at the tiny detail, is to stand back a bit and go, yeah, but I'm doing this because of that, and that has meaning. Yeah.
My whole life, I've always been that tortoise in the race, not the hare. So, you know, I plod on, do a little bit, and, you know, eventually I get there.
Yeah, you see, I hurtle through life, and then I'll have a nap, and then I'll hurtle, and then I'll stop. I am 9 to the dozen when I get my teeth into something, and there is absolutely no stopping me. But, you know, that's not always the best way to do things, but it's my way, and you have your way, and that's equally fine. There's not a right or wrong about it.
Yeah, exactly.
There is no right or wrong in it, is there, really? Let's be honest. There is no right or wrong. There isn't. You know, there's no one way fits all. And I think that's part of the problem, isn't it? You know, you get new resellers along the line, which is great. You get new people coming along and doing it, you know, trying to make a bit of extra money or whatever, you know, and that's fantastic. But you can't copy any other reseller, because the minute you try and copy, you're going to fall flat on your face, because it's not you, you know. And I think that may be hard if you're just coming into it, because you need to discover who you are. In anything you do, you need to discover who you are and how you fit into that. Yeah.
I think we're lucky as well, because we've got quite a nice close-knit group that we talk to each other every day. For anybody who don't know, in the chat, every day, you have to turn the messenger off. It gets that bad at times. Just ping, 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 ping when they get gabbing. But we're lucky in that way. We've got each other, that not just for our business, but just to support each other in general. And on that vein, I would say, if anybody needs support, go and join Andrew's group on Facebook, because that's a really supportive. I think it's called Money Mental Reselling. I'm not sure. If anyone knows in the chat, put it in, because they're really supportive of each other as well. So don't think you've got to do it on your own and just pop into the chat and on the YouTube videos, because there's other places out there where you can get support.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more what you said, Karen, that definitely should not try to model your business on someone else's. Don't see what someone else is doing and think, I'm going to model my business on that, because you'll fall flat on your face immediately, because it won't be the right way for you. It won't, you know, it just won't fit for you. You need to build things in a way that works to your strengths and to the way that fits your lifestyle and who you are. You need to tailor it.
I mean, let's be brutally honest here. None of us, this is no way slating each other, but none of us would run the business the way the other ones runs it. We just wouldn't. It's not us. No. You know, and that's not us slating each other. It's just that we have different business models, and we accept that. You know.
Yeah. And even within one business model, like for me and Nick, for instance, we still clash on many things, because I want to do things a certain way in, you know, with the stock that I list and the things that I handle, and he wants to do things another way. And we just have to try and compromise and make that work.
So you're doing a great job of it.
Kudos to you. I just couldn't. No.
Most of the time, you know, we're absolutely fine. We meet in the middle, and but for the overall business, we have one vision, and you know, we try and communicate and talk about where we're taking it. And
also, you tend to keep things quite separate as well, don't you? That's the thing, is you're in charge of your stuff and he's in charge of his stuff.
We've had to do that over the years. We've learned that.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we would drive each other to distraction.
There would be murders. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So do you think it's ever possible to live comparison free?
No, not completely. But it's good to be mindful of it.
Yeah, I think you need to be, and yeah, again, this can sound shallow, it can sound big-headed. You've got to get to yourself in a state where you are comfortable with who you are and what you are. You know, yes, I'm overweight. My hair's frizzy and it needs done. I can't bothered. I ain't got any makeup on because I can't bothered. You know, but I'm all right with who I am. I know in here I'm all right.
Yeah.
You know. And yeah, there's going to be people, you know, I'm going to see in the street, they're going to be like made up to the nose. Oh, they look lovely. I can't bother. But that's fine. But yeah, I think you will compare, but you need to be confident with what you are and what you've got. And be content. I think that's more important. If you're content with who you are and with what you've got, you may compare, but it won't be a negative comparison. You need to find the contentment first in life.
Content and accepting of yourself as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Not being too hard on yourself, because I mean, we are, especially when you're self-employed, you haven't got anyone else really telling you what to do. So you tend to end up being your own worst critic, and it's good for motivation, but there comes a point where you've got to go, look, I wouldn't say that to a friend of mine. Why do I treat myself like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I wrote down something that Mel once said, which really resonated with me, and I remind myself of it all the time. So this is going back to sort of comparing yourself in business and perhaps on social media and that sort of thing. And she said, before you consume, create. And that really resonated with me. And I try to remember that before I start looking through social media and seeing how other people are doing, or looking at other people's businesses, I create something. I do something proactive of my own, and then I feel, you know, I've put something out there in the world. I've done my own individual thing before I then start looking. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
And I think that is one strategy that you can use. As soon as you find yourself starting to compare yourself in some ways, act. Positive actions, your own positive actions can counterbalance that. You know, just do something. You know, when you're feeling a bit sort of paralyzed by, I'm never going to be as good as that, then do something, you know. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, if you're sitting there and you're on your phone and you're scrolling or whatever, and you've got something come up, you know, oh, this person's had this many sales. Well, wow, I've had no sales for 3 days or whatever. And then you go, and you go through more, oh, they've got this 6-day turnover. You know, I've got like whatever my 6-day turnover is. Beating yourself up and going on about it isn't actually going to change it. You go, no, it's not fair. They're getting all these sales. That's not going to change it.
No.
You know.
But going off and finding a box of stock and photographing it, you've made a start, haven't you?
It's being productive. It's being proactive, isn't it?
I've got my notice board up there, and I've got hashtag no 0 days. So that doesn't necessarily mean listing every day, but I do something every day for my business, whether it is postage, listing, sorting stuff out. It hasn't got to be a major task every single day to get something done. Just small things, as long as I do something, which is what you're saying. So hashtag no 0 days. Get it trending on Instagram. Is that what they say?
We should start that.
Everyone got a clue because you don't do Instagram.
I really, it's a time thing, you know. I have popped in there on occasion and had a good look, but it's like it's a whole nother hole to go down that I just haven't got the time. I like watching you, talking to you. I can't be doing with everything else. Otherwise I wouldn't do any work, and if I ain't working, there's no sales happening.
Lucy asks me if I compare sales figures with Nick. No, because it's all one business, so we don't compare sales figures.
That would take forever as well, wouldn't it? Because you both trade on the same, you know, both of your stock. I mean, I know it's the same business, but I'm saying like your clothing that you list and bits Nick lists, it's all on the same store. Could you imagine actually sitting down and doing that? Get some listing done instead.
It's basically that way because we have different interests, so we pick up different things that we're interested in and that we enjoy. So
I've suddenly gone all shy. There's 91 people in the chat.
What was that?
Wow. Yeah.
91 people.
Exercise.
91 people.
Bexifies in and she says, every single person's journey is exactly that. It's their journey, and they will struggle when you aren't, and vice versa. No one is better than anyone else.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And quite often people are struggling and not showing you. So they're showing something wonderful on social media, or they're telling you everything's great, but you know, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So
that's what Amy put. She said you can't compare your life with someone else's highlight reels.
Yeah,
exactly. We could all do an edited, airbrushed kind of version, and I'm sure sometimes that's what people think our lives are. I've had people think that my life is somehow, something completely different what it really is, and I've never led anyone to believe that, but they've just made an assumption. It's like, well, why? You've no idea. You don't know me. You don't know my shit. You don't know like day-to-day stuff.
I mean, I think it's part of it is, you know, and it's not meant in any bad way at all. It's like, you know, if you do a haul, you're not going to go onto YouTube and go, I've got a haul. I went to the charity shop and look what I found. Oh, nothing. And I went out again the next day and guess what I found? Oh, nothing. You know?
Yeah.
And you know, when you've picked up a lot of stuff, you only want to show the really good stuff, and not necessarily because you want to show off, just because you love it. You just want to show people the good stuff you've got. Yeah.
Well, that's mainly why we all started it, wasn't it? It's, with the YouTube thing, it's because I was so excited about what I found, and of course nobody here in my house is the least bit interested. So it's like, I know it's good. I want to show somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why Nick started it, because he had no, you know, apart from me, had no one else to talk to about reselling. And he saw Americans doing it and thought, I'm going to do that. I'm going to get on YouTube and talk about what I do. Yeah. And Mandy says, mine and Jeff's roles in business are completely separate. Otherwise, we would kill each other. So it's very similar there.
Anyone that works with their spouse, I love Cole dearly, but you know what? It would be the end of us. Because I'm very much like me, like, you know what I am, like a little Duracell bunny, and it'd be like so laid back. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm like, you turn me head in.
Yeah, I'm not sure it would work with me and my partner either, although we've got very different skills and talents, and I think that we might work somehow together, but it's still like, no, I've got a source, because that's what I'm best at.
No, he's always said he's meant for employment, not self-employment. So
yeah, Barry's the same.
Yeah. Okay, what other questions have I got left? I think we've covered a lot of it. Sorry, bear with. I'm just reading what I've got.
Has anyone got any questions in the chat? I did see one off Double Karma, but it's quite a way back. I don't think we covered it. Let me find it again.
Here we go. It's what do you all think about self-employment? That was Double Karma.
I've been self-employed since 2012, so it's fine. I don't think, in all seriousness now, even if Carl was a self-employed kind of guy, which he's not, I don't think we could both be self-employed. I wouldn't be able to cope without the guaranteed money coming in from one of us.
Yeah.
But because his money more or less covers the essentials, like the mortgage, you know. So
yeah,
I don't think I could do it if he wasn't employed.
For me, it suits my personality and the way I am. I struggle being told what to do. I really, really do. So yeah, it's best that I'm self-employed and I'm not around other people too much.
Yeah. Plus, I have got health issues, and I don't go into it because no one else is business really. That does.
I think I'm about to have a delivery from the builder, so I'm going to have to drop out.
Okay. All right. Bye for joining us.
Yeah, it does make it harder to be employed. There's days where I can't do very much at all. So, but no, I don't think I could do it if as I said, from a financial security point of view.
Yeah,
I like that, but knowing the bills paid.
Well, personally, I think it's the best thing ever. I don't think I could go back to working for someone else.
Yeah.
We've been self-employed since 2001, so it's a long time, and I wouldn't want to ever go back to being employed. You can make it work.
Got another question. Does it annoy you when people don't leave you feedback?
No.
No.
It annoys me
does
if they
me.
leave negative feedback.
It does me.
Don't they?
But then they don't get feedback until they've given me positive feedback, or they don't get any because it's automatically set up.
It annoys me if it's an expensive item, because I like to get the feedback to know that they're happy with it.
Yes.
And that reassures me. But when I don't hear anything and it's not positive, or I do tend to think, well, no news is good news, because you haven't heard anything. What's this bloody item you've sent me, or anything like that. But I like to get the feedback in, because then it's gone. Then in my mind it's gone. But until I get that feedback on an expensive item, it plays on my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't ask for feedback. I wouldn't say, are you going to leave me feedback then, or what?
No, that annoys me if people ask for feedback.
Flutterby asked, is it hard from a money aspect? If you have a bad period, you cannot just stop selling. But I think that's the same in a 9-to-5 job as well. I've never had an employed job where I get my full wages if I'm off sick. I've never had that kind of job. I've got statutory sick pay. So I think you have to be more frugal with your money. If you rely on it to pay bills, you have to be more frugal. You can't just, if you have a good month, go and blow it. You need to save it in case you do have a bad month. Just a minute. Let me mute that.
Rod's in. He's got quite a good question. It says, do you think resellers in general struggle with the constraints of employment and effectively make themselves unemployable?
Yeah, I think that's a big thing with resellers, isn't it? Most of us are like how we've just said. We don't like working for other people. We don't like being told what to do. We're very independent and individual in how we are.
We don't fit that mold, do we?
And I think there is also a big thing about mental health issues as well. And a lot of us are quite introverted and much prefer this lifestyle because it's quieter, it's less people, less pressure. It's just, it works.
I'm a very sociable person when I'm in the mood to be sociable. When I'm not in the mood to be sociable, it does my head in. So I like that, where I can just lock myself away for a little bit and get over myself.
Yeah. I'm one of those weird ones that just really likes my own company.
I love my own company. Yeah.
Before I was with Carl, I lived by myself for 3 years. And because I moved out when I was 17, and I lived by myself, and I loved it. It was a real shock to the system when I had a man move in with me. Whereas I know people that, they've gone from relationship to relationship, etc.
Was it George says, that's one thing I'm always wary of with my videos. I want them to look great and fun, but I don't want my viewers thinking it's all happy rainbows. Then that's skipped.
I hope
happy rainbows and sunshine.
I hope, because I hope it comes across anyway. I do the good and the bad and the ugly and the indifferent all through it. I mean, I've not done the last few because I've been busy with this one that's snoring a red off down here. But Monday Packing Live, I've been on when I've only had 4 on a Monday. So.
Yeah, I mean, we've been accused of that in the past, just showing the good stuff and not the bad. But I think we try to show a balance of things, or at least talk about it in our lives. Even if we're not showing that in a video.
I think you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. If you go, I've had a really bad, I've had a really bad week or whatever. Our sales are really down. You'll get told, you're rubbish at it. You don't know what you're doing, etc. And then I've had a really good week. You're just showing off, aren't you?
Yeah, that's what Zahir gets all the time, isn't it? Because he's so honest about how they're doing in their lives, and you know, he'll get slated for doing badly, and then, you know, if he's having a great week, it'll be, oh, you're just showing off. You just can't win.
I mean, I was watching that. They're not in here to answer it. I haven't seen him anyway. Is people will assume that if you're having a bad week, it's because you're not working and you're not listing, and that is not necessarily the case. Some of my best week sales I've had, other than since July when I've really upped my game, were when I wasn't listing at all. Whereas I could have other weeks where I'd list and have dire sales. There is no rhyme or reason to it, you know.
Yeah. I don't know. This week has been awful, but I don't know if that's because we weren't listing last week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's all swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Nick's just popped in and said, I created this job to suit me and how I function.
Yes.
Definitely, yeah.
In it perfectly, really. Okay, so I did have a last question or a point to make. It's an important question to ask is why am I comparing myself to that person, that business, that social media account? And yeah, so it's important to ask yourself that. And when you do ask yourself that, what does it say about what's lacking or what you desire in your own life? So I thought that was a really good point, actually, because when we find ourselves comparing ourselves, maybe we should then turn it around and say, okay, I'm comparing myself negatively. What is that saying about what I'm desiring or needing in my own life? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think a lot of the time, if you're comparing, I'm talking reselling here. I think a lot of the time, if you're comparing yourself to other people, it's because you're trying to find an excuse as to why you're doing not as well as you'd hope to be doing. And if 9 times out of 10, it is something that either you are not doing or it's just the way that it is. You know, it's not because someone's selling something different price, or it's not. It is 9 times out of 10. Look at yourself before you actually start comparing yourself to other people.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with comparing yourself or having competitions with people. I mean, Mandy, who's in the chat, I mean, she's on holiday at the moment, the cow, right? But normally, every day it's like, yeah, well, you know, I've got holiday fund here. Normally, if when she's home, we will say, right, I want to get this many listings done today, and we will badger each other until we've done it, because we're more or less on the same amount of listings we want to get done each day. So because we're quite equal on that front, it is a healthy competition. But I'm not going, what do you mean you've done X amount in value for sales? You know, there's no competition on that value. We've got our own goals, we've got our own targets, and we're happy for each other when we hit them. So
yeah.
Mandy again for me. I mean, I admire Mandy. She's got a fantastic business going, and she works really hard at it. Her figures are amazing and inspirational, but I know how hard she works at it, and that is not me. So although I like the look of her figures, I know for me, not that I couldn't achieve it, I know that I couldn't do the work that it takes to achieve it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I think on a personal level with that particular question, it's like, for instance, when you're looking at things on social media, like you're thinking, oh, that person's on holiday, and you know, you sort of feel a bit negative about, oh, they're on holiday again, or blah blah blah. What it's actually saying to you is, you just need a holiday. You just
holiday.
Yourself a break. You just need a holiday. You know, and when you're negatively comparing yourself with your business, you're saying to yourself, right, I just need to act on that. I need to pull my finger out. If I want to be like that, start listing more, start doing this, you know, blah blah blah. Just act. Don't keep beating yourself up over it. Just do it.
Yeah. And contentment also, if you're content in something, doesn't mean that you don't have to have ambition. I mean, for example, we're in a 2-bedroom flat. I've got 2 children, a boy and a girl. We're not going to get moved. You know, we're not council. We own it. There's no way we're moving. I've got an 11-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old tomorrow, 10-year-old boy, right? And they've got to share a room at the moment. And that is absolutely fine because that is what we can afford. We can't afford to go up to the next run of the ladder. That doesn't mean I wouldn't want to go up to the next run of the ladder, but I'm content where I am because I know in reality it's unachievable at the moment. Does that make sense? So it's not that I wouldn't like to have more.
Yeah,
but,
totally. It really does.
You know, it's okay to want to have more, but it's when that want almost becomes a need.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you know, we've been doing this nearly 20 years now. And, you know, you see like businesses on eBay that have been around for a couple of years and they're doing triple the amount of figures we're doing. And they're hiring staff and you see people sort of question why aren't you there? If you've been doing it that long, why aren't you there? And it's really because we're happy with this. You know, this is where we want to be. We don't want to be hiring staff. We don't want to be doing this and this. And yeah, I look at other people's amazing businesses and I think, well, that would be good. But I know that's not me. I know that I won't achieve that. So
you and Nick worked really hard though, didn't you? You know, I'm not saying you don't work hard now, so that's really bad. But you worked really hard when you had your shops, didn't you? You were putting in I'm sorry, there's no way you was doing like 10, 12 hours a week. You were putting in massive hours a week so you could get mortgage free. You know, so you put in the legwork that they're putting in now.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to think how many people in the chat would love to be mortgage free, and yet you're mortgage free.
Yeah, 10 more years and counting.
It's all relative, isn't it? It's all relative.
Yeah. I mean, I don't live extravagantly at all, and I haven't been on holiday. You haven't heard of me going on holiday in all the time that you've known me, have you?
No.
I don't feel like I need a holiday. I'm happy with what I've got.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So I don't need a life that I need. I haven't got a life that I need a holiday from. I'm not stressed out. I'm quite chilled out. I'm happy with my house. It's only a council house, but I'm happy in it. I'm warm. I'm fed.
Yeah.
I've got you lot to talk to.
Especially this time of year. You see people around here, don't you? You know, on the streets. So it's like...
Yeah, I don't want for much. I'm a dead simple person, me, you know. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Most of the time, anyway.
Yeah. I was just going to finish by saying that over all the years that we have been self-employed, we've always tried to change things up every couple of years. Maybe we come up with harebrained schemes and we do different things. It's been the longest period of time since we've not done that. And I think both Nick and I are feeling a bit itchy feet. You know, we just want to not stop reselling. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about, you know, changing things up and, you know. I think
that's what the Habu talks about, isn't it?
Flexibility to do that, doesn't it? It gives you the flexibility to try other things and, you know.
That's what I like about it, because if you do get bored of something, I mean, like if I suddenly got insanely bored of clothing, I could change it all.
Yeah.
And sell something completely different. Might have to change my YouTube name again, but you know.
Yeah,
you don't have to just stay where you are, do you? You can keep moving and keep evolving.
Yeah, but it's nice that you can evolve at a pace that's comfortable for you and Nick, isn't it?
Yeah,
because there's a lot of this striving going on Instagram, especially. Strive to do this and build bigger and better, and it's got to be bigger and faster and stronger than the other. But it hasn't.
I think that's. I'm going to sound like a real old fart here now. I think that's also an age thing as well. I mean, if I was 18, 19 doing this, I probably would be hiring staff, looking at warehouses and things like that, because this would be, that's it, let's make mega money. Whereas now I'm like, I don't need the mega money. Being skinnier than this, I'm fine. You know.
Yeah. And it's not like we've never thought about it. We have. We've, you know, thought about it many times, but just always decided against it when push came to shove. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And Nick's just said, you've got it made if you're happy and content with your lot.
And can I just say, yes, I am
Yeah.
Lee Allen. I'm from Nottingham.
Yeah.
Does the accent give it away?
I think you can always have more, and there's nothing wrong with wanting more, but it's when that want becomes a need.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, like when you wanted your mini for ages, didn't you, Andrea?
Yeah.
You know, you wanted it, but it didn't consume you. It wasn't
No,
all.
it didn't affect my life in any way.
It'd be nice to have new carpets when she's finished chewing these ones to pieces.
Yeah.
But, you know, it can wait.
Oh. Okay, well, we're on the hour now, so yeah, thank you for that. It's been a good conversation, and if we've missed any questions, then apologies for that, but thank you for joining us for the conversation, and I hope everybody has a great weekend. So
Yep.
bye.
Thanks for having us. Bye, everyone.